How's it going, everybody? It's so good to see you guys. Yeah, I'm just messing around with my screen there. So good to see you guys. Good to see you in the chat there. Yeah, James, I just watching the chat there just as we were starting. I see you're getting knee replacement surgeries. Yeah, good luck with that. I know today everything's come along so fast with medicine, so hopefully it's not too invasive, but knee replacement doesn't sound too great. Is it the full knee? So sometimes they have those rods and stuff they can put in there, but who knows. Anyways, it's really good to be back, guys. Thanks so much for sticking with me. It really means a lot. I know it's been a while. I've felt really bad. It's just the timing. It's just never been right. It's never lined up right. I wanted to do that video that I did last night, but it just didn't seem appropriate at the time because I wanted to be all upbeat and everything, and it didn't seem right to do it and to kind of like reveal the to do the first shot of everything behind me and stuff. And it's just been really busy. Like, as you guys know, when I was away for work, and that's when everything went down, and then got back from that for a number of weeks, and then it just didn't, like I said, it didn't feel right. And I really felt bad because I didn't push TSG Multimedia's live stream with On Track Tuesday. So I mentioned it last night on that mail call and updates video. But again, I just wanted to say thanks again to John for doing that, because I didn't do a promo video for anything. It just didn't. The timing didn't work out. But I'm back now. Everything's going really well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the chat room real quick. So James is saying it's the full knee. Well, that's too bad, man. I hope you recover quickly, and good luck to you, James. So I believe I said hi to everybody in the chat. Jerry, I don't think I caught you. But yeah, like I said, guys, it's good to be back. If anybody has any announcements, let me know. Because I'm really out of touch on everything. I've been kind of touching base on things. I know something that was really exciting was Sparky being in England. That was pretty cool. So I caught bits and pieces of that, but I mostly was seeing just kind of the updates on Facebook on my phone as I was at work and stuff. So I got to catch up on all that, check out Sparky's trip. So I don't even know if he's back yet or not. But something else with Sparky, now I don't know if this is officially released yet, but I think it is. It goes to show how far behind I am. Strasbourg, apparently that's happening. And I believe it's May 16th, if anybody can correct me on that, because I'm not 100%. But I know Strasbourg is happening, and like you guys know, I've always wanted to go there because that's where that CNR mogul is, which is totally awesome. Which that picture that you guys always see on my thumbnails, that's the model of that engine. Randy, you're asking me if I'm up for a road trip. Am I guessing that's to go to Sparky's? Maybe doing some work by any chance? Hi, Carver. I won't be able to because I'm actually going to Owen Sound this weekend. It's Mel's, my wife's mother, my mother-in-law. It's her 60th birthday. So we're actually going up for that. So happy birthday, Kathy. You guys have heard of Kathy because it was Kathy's father that was the fireman for the CN and CPR that I've showed you guys stuff before. So a bunch of you guys are going to Cambridge for that. So I'm just gonna. So is Sparky putting you guys to work? Or are you going there to look at trains and stuff? Diorama delivery and work on roof trusses. Nice. That's right, because Sparky did win the diorama you built, correct? And William, sorry, I'm just going through your guys' chat. You're late with video. William, you're starting a new layout. Doing bench work now, watching the live stream. Nice, Will. So, I'm confused because you just recently restarted and it was looking good from what I saw. So you just decided to tear it down and do it again? Is what I'm guessing. And I'm just jumping down to you, Randy. So Toyman's going there too. That's cool. I've been wanting to go meet Toyman for a while because he's over in London. It's not that far. So Randy, maybe sometime you and I could figure out a little road trip, go visit Sparky and go on over to London and hang out with Toyman and run his layout. I always thought that would be really cool to do that. And Peaches is in the house. Nora. How's it going, Nora? Oh, William, so you're adding to the curve. That's wicked. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Good to hear. Well, I'm excited to check that out. That's going to be awesome. So, guys, so nobody's corrected me on that Strasbourg thing here. Is it May 16th? Am I right about that? Hey, Nate. There's Nate by Tyadotten Valley. And there's Nancy. Nancy, I haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you. And Nora's got a big rainstorm going through where he is. So it is May 16th. So I was right. Okay, perfect. May 16th to 17th. So Strasbourg, everyone. So I think it is official now. And yeah, sounds pretty awesome. Okay, guys. So I'm thinking, you know what, we might as well just jump into the show. I thought we would do that. I got a little bit of kind of show and tell. It's not like a crazy show tonight, but it's kind of a cool show. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do this and transfer over. We call this the show section when I'm running this on here. If you haven't been with me before, I think all of you guys have been on here with me. So yeah, this is the show section, and this is where I do my little presentation. So what we're talking about is the first town. So if you guys watched the, I did an upload. Freaking YouTube, man, sometimes it takes so long. Like I'll spend all the time editing the video and putting it together, and then when I go to upload it, you know, I have to render it, then upload it. It takes forever, so it didn't go up until like 10 o'clock at night, so or my time. So I was impressed that the amount of you guys that watched it, I really appreciated that you guys watched that. So anyways, long story short, if you didn't see that video, big news is, hey, Roy from Panama's here. That's awesome. So yeah, if you didn't see that video, just to get you caught up, bench work has started to go in on the OSCNR, my home layout. And if you didn't see it, if you go and watch that video after, you'll see like behind me, I've got my shelving set up. So I got a bunch of my antiques and everything all set up. That's why my lantern that normally sits behind me, it's gone because it's on display down there in its permanent place. And then, so yeah, my next section is the main hallway going down. Got to finish that off, and then I'll be moving all of this stuff in my desk, my other desk, down there, and I'll start doing the framing for the Owen Sound and the staging section. So I brought up the layout, and the first town, the benchwork is complete. The track is down. I've soldered all the joints. I've got all the ties in. I've started to paint it. I've got the feeders soldered on. I just don't have the bus line hooked up to the feeders yet, and I still have to do the turnout motors. I also have I've made some turnout panels, like switch panels, so they're ready. So once I get the fascia on there, I'll be ready to throw those on there. So this first section of the layout that I keep talking about, it's a town called Chesley, and it's a small town. Oh, I'm getting caught here. And basically this town, you can find it in this book by Ian Wilson. I know I always talk about Ian, and I'm going to be featuring some pictures out of this book this evening like I normally do. And the cool thing is I actually reached out to Ian, so now I actually have full permission. He gave me his blessing to continue. He sounded like he liked what I was doing, and so it seemed pretty good. So anyways, based it on the track plan, which you're going to see here in a minute, out of that book. So like I told you guys a while back, I was away at a cottage. I'm a contractor, and I was doing some work there. I was doing a bathroom and some flooring, and so I didn't have much to do. So my downtime, what I did was I went and grabbed some 5/8 plywood, and I built the benchwork for Chesley in out east from here, in their backyard. So it's kind of cool. So I literally, I didn't have a track plan. I went off the real track plan off the book. I had the book with me and just did it there. Drew it out, kind of figured what I wanted to do and made a couple adjustments. And when I brought it home, did the bench work, and it worked out really well. So I'm just looking at you here, James. You do jumper bus using jumper wires as a temp. And you know what's funny, James? Because like the whole thing, it's just that section that's done. So all I've done, I just hooked the command station to the very end of it. And the hilarious thing is, the command station runs the whole thing flawlessly. I had one short on one turnout, so I just got to mess around with the frog on that. I think I've got it now. But other than that, it's all worked perfectly. So now I know when I do hook up those feeder wires, it'll be running perfectly. So I guess without any further ado, we will go into the show. First town, like I said, is called Chesley, Ontario. So first thing I'm going to do here, guys, I'm going to show you the track plan. And like I said, this is right out of Ian's book. And this is what I did. I literally took that 5/8 sheet of plywood and basically just copied this onto the plywood. I had some things that I wanted to stay within. So 24-inch minimum curves, 2-inch center to center on my straight sections, and then on the curves, I did some research with some NMRA stuff and decided on 2.5-inch centers on my curves, just to make sure, even though I'm running really short freight cars, I'm not normally running over 40 foot. I have a few 50 foots, but mostly 40 foots. My passenger cars are full length. So that was an issue. I had to be very careful with that. So yeah, my curves on the 24-inch radius, where there's double track, are 2.5 inches center to center. So here's the track plan. So let me just get you guys familiar here. This way here, we are going to Palmerston, okay? So basically, from staging on the lower level, you are going to come this way. And you're actually heading north to Owen Sound. Now right here, keep in mind this bridge right here. This is the old highway that went over. And up here we have Krug Brothers. This was a furniture factory. There was a sister to this I know in Kitchener, Ontario. And in Kitchener, I actually bought a chair recently that was from that plant. Pretty cool, an old antique that I managed to find. I think it was on Facebook Marketplace. So here we've got the freight shed. Over here is the Chesley Chair Co. We've got coal sheds, Imperial Oil. That's a fuel dealership, kind of like very similar to what my dad used to have. Another coal shed and stock pens. So why did I go with Chesley? If you guys remember, originally I was gonna do a town called Tara, but as things changed and as the layout got a little bigger, I decided to change it up. What I was finding is, especially when I started getting things going and I started bringing my rolling stock out of storage and everything, I realized I had a lot more rolling stock than I remembered. So I guess that's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. But it's good, right? I had a lot of rolling stock. So my fear was that the layout would be boring. Because before, the way the design was, basically you'd run from Owen Sound, you'd have maybe a little drop off in Parkhead, not likely anything in Shallow Lake. And then Tara, all there was in Tara was, there was a livestock pen, there was a team track, which is kind of cool, and I believe a freight shed, but really small. I believe it was only one siding in the main, not very exciting. So when I decided to make it wider, I decided, you know what, I need something with more industry. And all of a sudden, this has completely changed the layout, and as you know, I've already been running it, and it's been running really well, especially for the switching part of it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to fast forward to the next picture. Sparky, did I see you sneak in there? It is Sparky. So are you back, Sparky? I was saying earlier, before you're on here, I'm a little out of touch with everything. But anyways, guys, okay, my mouse is on here. I just want you to pay attention here. If you take a look here, we have the stock pens. This is the fuel dealership. This is a coal shed. Over here's the station. We've got the freight shed and an elevator over here. Lots of wood piles, and this was for all these furniture factories. That's basically what most of these factories were in Chesley, were furniture factories. And back here in behind is Krug Brothers. And so if you look here, I'm going to go forward. This is what the layout's looking like. Okay, so you see this line right here says road. I'm going to move this down towards you guys a little bit, if that makes sense. It's just going to shift just to give a little bit more room, because this is actually a bridge. And I'll show pictures later on some uploads when I show more of Chesley being put together. But it's a really cool bridge. I'm going to attempt to scratch build it. Great, you said you're buffering? And hello, by the way. Hopefully you're not buffering, because I've got a good signal. When I first fired this up, I had a yellow signal, which isn't good, but it went away now. So I got a good green here, so it shouldn't be buffering. So hopefully it's not. Anyway, so guys, this is kind of the same view as the previous picture. So here we have the stock pens, fuel dealership, and back here was Chesley Chair Corporation. So we go forward, we've got the stock cars right here. So this is the future area of the stock pens, and this is that little roundabout road you saw here. And then here you're gonna have a coal shed, and then you have the fuel dealership. And back in this corner here, now in real life, this is straight, but I've curved it, and this is the siding for Chesley Chair Corporation. Now what I've done, I have made this Krug Brothers. So if we go back to the original track plane, you'll see Krug Brothers, how it's an L shape. What I've done, I've just taken the corners and pushed them forward, and that's basically how that works. So if you imagine the fascia board going like this. That's kind of how that's going to work. So yeah, that's basically it. The road is right here, so that picture is pretty well the same. It's working really nice. So I'm going to skip forward here. Now this shot here, I put this on here. This is looking the other way, so you're actually looking southbound from here. But if you look in the background here, last night I showed you guys on that upload, I was talking about that water tower. So here's that water tower right here. So you can see how similar it is. This was the water tower, almost identical, to be honest. Now, something I'm thinking about doing, I have older photos of this water tower, and it was originally black, and it had white lettering that said Krug Brothers something something established 1860 something. I can't remember. I have to look it up. So I'm thinking that's kind of one of those things I was talking about where I'm trying to go prototypical but a little bit loose. That's something where I might bend the rules, even though in 57 or 58, whenever this picture was taken, it was silver at that time. I think I'm going to backdate it to, like the 30s, 40s, just because I think it looks cooler. And later on, you'll see some things in Owen Sound I'm going to do like that too. Like there's certain buildings that had certain posters, like painted on posters and pictures that didn't really exist in 57, but I think they look cool, so I'm going to do it anyways. So it's just personal preference, right? So I'm going to go forward once again. and you will see here another shot, same direction we're looking here. So if you look here, really good modeling opportunity. So what I've used for this was the Walther's Interstate Oil, I believe it's called. I actually ordered it from Sparky's buddy at Otter Valley. It came really quick. They were one of the only people that had it in stock, so it shipped really quick, and I've already got it put together. I'm just working on painting it and detailing it, but you can kind of see the loading racks back here and the tanks. I just love these old pictures. And once again, this is out of Ian Wilson's book, Steam Over Palmerston. And if you look over here, we were talking a while back about waybill boxes. Right here, that's the post office box, and right there behind it, that's the waybill box. And that goes to show something that I screwed up. I painted that waybill box bright red because I just saw an old picture, and in the background you can kind of see a box. I screwed it up. The mailbox is red. Normally the CNR waybill boxes were like a boxcar red, so CNR boxcar red. So I'm just gonna redo it, and I'm gonna build another one anyway, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, that's a good. That's where some of these ideas come from. Of course, I got that idea from Trevor Marshall, but there's the real thing right there. Now, something I wanted to cover. It was a question from the last live stream. I answered it wrong. I knew the right answer, but I worded it wrong and it didn't sound right. I forget who it was. It might have been Gray2057. I think he was on here, said it was buffering. But somebody asked me about waybill boxes, and the question was, is it a CNR specific practice? And I said, yes, it is, absolutely. Well, yes, CNR did it, but no, it's not specific to CNR. All kinds of railroads did it. I believe I saw a picture of a Southern Pacific waybill box. I saw pictures of CPR, I believe. So it was a common practice. So it's something that you could add to your own railroad. And you could even do it with car cards. I don't see why you couldn't do it with car cards. The car cards are really similar to the waybills that I'm using. So Sparky's saying Otter Valley Road has a lot of stuff in. They do. I was really surprised. I've never ordered from them before, and I just kind of, seen them on here and stuff, and they actually came up. Me just Googling it came up from their store, so it was pretty cool. And decent shipping because it's not that far. Hey Digger, how you doing, buddy? Okay, let's go forward. So now what I've done, all I'm doing here, I just switched the track plan upside down, so you guys can kind of get an idea from. Hey, there's Dave. Sorry guys, I keep interrupting myself. Yeah, so you guys could get an idea. Now Sparky's asking, am I going to? Yeah, we're totally planning on it, Sparky. Nothing's booked yet, but we are. I'm totally, yeah, unless something major came up, but I can't see us not going. I'm pretty sure we're gonna bring Millie too, my daughter, this time. I think she would really like it because she's getting older now, and I think because you can ride the trains there and everything, I think it'll be a really good time. So anyways, this is the track plan. All I did, I flipped it upside down for you guys so it would make sense. So if you pay attention, first of all, we're gonna just look at this right end, and you'll see how there's a curve down here, but I just brought this curve up closer. So you'll see on this next picture here, this is how it looks. So as you can see, the track plan is pretty well identical. It's just curved here. So if you see these cars parked up in here, this is the Chesley Jericho. That's where it's gonna go. So the front of it's gonna look exactly the same. We're pretty well close to the same. But the shape of it, obviously, it's going to be kind of a triangle shape because it's kind of a background building in the corner, and this siding actually goes in behind it. So you can see right here, this is a coal shed, and I'm just scratch building that out of some spare wood that I have. I had a picture, well, that last picture you guys I showed you can kind of see it. So I'm just going off that. That's the fun part of this, is in the research, is looking at the pictures, and then you look like for a picture of the station, and then you'll see that coal shed in the background. It's kind of cool how it works out. So I've just got glimpses of it, and I've got pictures of coal sheds in Palmerston, and so it gives me a general idea. They're not that complicated. It's not exact, but it's, it'll be close. So like I said, that's the coal shed, and then here is the fuel oil dealership. And I think what I'm gonna do, I was originally gonna keep this just because I thought it looked cool, but on the prototype there isn't really a building here. It's just this one here. So I've decided, just by looking at this picture, I'm going to remove this building, take it right out, and that'll shift these down, and that'll give me more room for the coal shed that's over here and the stock pens, because the stock pens were pretty big. Vinny, you're taking off? Take care, Vinny. It's good seeing you. Or talking to you, I guess. So yeah. Then you look down here. This is where the station will be. And this outline here that I've just kind of drew in rough, that's the platform. And it's pretty similar to what the original one was. This is the location of the freight shed. This is that elevator. And then this is just the corner of Krug Brothers. So you get a better idea how it's an L shape. So you have one piece of the L of the building here, and then one piece of the L further down, which I'll show you in a second here. So this is what I was talking about here. So see how Krug is L? So you're just seeing this piece here, and you're seeing this piece here. And then I just straightened this track out, and this track is, almost the same. And all I'm doing, I'm calling this shipping and this receiving, as you'll see in the next shot. So this is just a little further down. So now you can see Krug Brothers from the top roughed in a little better. So this is the shipping track, and this is the receiving track. Now, something I wanted to mention when we're talking about rolling stock, this is where operations can get really fun, and where you can really mix it up with freight cars. So we've got a receiving track, okay? So what are we going to receive? This is a furniture factory. So obviously we're going to receive cars of lumber. So that could come in box cars. It's going to come in flat cars. Might come in on a gondola. I don't know. However you want. But there's something else I didn't think of. It's something that I've heard of before, and I forgot about it. I noticed on that building, there's the water tower, which I just showed you guys. So that water tower, I'll put this picture back up for you guys so you can see. That water tower is right around here. I've seen it in old pictures, there's a smokestack around this area somewhere, which tells me that's how they most likely heated the plant. A lot of the time, these old plants, when you see those big smokestacks, that was for the heating system, and it was normally fired by coal. So something else you can do is bring in, what I'm going to do on here, bring in carloads, hoppers of coal to feed the factory, and that's how they would heat them. So pretty exciting. So Wilmer, that hopper that you got me, it's going to go to good use, because there's lots of room for that Pennsylvania coal anthracite to go. So if you look here, I'll go back to the original drawing. This is the original blueprint from Trevor Marshall's book, so it's pretty close. So you see here's a coal shed and the stock pens, and there's Imperial Oil. We go forward. There's Imperial Oil, which I'm going to shift down a little bit. Here will be the freight shed and the stock pens, if that makes sense to everybody. So yeah. So next, show this again. I believe I talked to you guys about the bridge. That I'm going to attempt to scratch build. I've got a few pictures of it. I didn't put them on here because, there's as you can see, there's so much information now that I'm able to cover with the YouTube channel, so it'll be pretty good. So another thing I'm modeling is this building down here, and I've changed it up a bit, but it looks the same. I should have put an original picture on here, but I didn't, but I'll show it to you guys later. It's called Chesley Manufacturing, it was another furniture factory. Now I believe it later on got bought out by Krug Brothers, but at this time, from what I understand from my research, it was a separate company. So that's over here, and what I've done, I've changed up a bit. I have the track going into the back of it. Now this got shifted a little bit. It doesn't actually sit quite like that, but anyways, it'll be kind of cool. The freight cars can go right inside the building, and yeah. So this switch here, it's not operational right now because it's going to switch on that drawbridge. It was the only way I can make it. You can see it's already pretty tight. I even had to go a little further than I thought. I made a little bit of a mistake. I went about 3 inches further than what I imagined, so we kind of have to backtrack to get back to staging and all that, but that's okay. It'll be on a bit of an angle, but that's fine. And as you can see, I've started painting the track and ballasting and weathering it, and it's coming along. It's turning out pretty good. I've changed my method a little bit. It was based on the Joey Ricard method, trackside scenery. If you ever watch him, that's how I did the track on the diorama that I showed you guys. But I've changed this up. I've changed it up. I've changed his method a little bit. I've took some steps out just to make it a little quicker. And on this, I used gray as a base instead of brown. I wanted kind of that old gray tie look. So I just thought I'd throw in a picture of Parkhead because the next part of the layout is we are going to climb up the Helix. So the Helix is my next project, and we come into this town which is called Parkhead. And I've actually already started work on this station too. It was an old freight car or old passenger car kit I had, and well, I bought it for that purpose, but it looks like it's gonna work out pretty good. So guys, that is it. I'm gonna go back to my main screen here. I hope you guys like that. All right, so Randy, you're saying looking forward to see. You're gonna see it very soon, Randy. I have plans for you already, which is funny. Randy, you're probably gonna be one of the agents because you're so close. If you're interested, it'd be easy for you to learn how to run it and everything. And so that was my plan for you, if you're up to that. Sparky wrote, going to be cool to model and then operate on a prototypical area that you grew up around. It is. And you know what's funny, Sparky? I don't have really a lot of personal ties to Chesley. The only thing that ties me to Chesley really is I played hockey there. They actually had a decent hockey team. Really, I remember it was from what I remember, it was kind of a barnyard type of an arena, but a good hockey team. But that's all I really know. But I do remember going through there. Those water towers at the time were still there. You could see them, and they were really high. But now the Krug Brothers is completely gone, and that water tower is gone. Now the Chesley Chairco, it's still there. It's another factory. I forget what it's called now, but they still do make some kind of heirloom furniture, and it's pretty cool looking. And you can go on Google Maps and look at it. So I will do that in the near future, kind of show some pictures of the real buildings and how I'm going to build them. One thing I was going to show you guys, so you saw the foam core mock-ups. I wanted to show you guys something I've been working on. Now, Wilmer and I were chatting back and forth, so this is what I was talking about, Wilmer. Well, these aren't glued in. That's what the foam core looks like. So this was kind of a color theme I was just messing around with for the Owen Sound Factory. So I did this a long time ago. The windows aren't right or anything, but those Tichy windows that came in that I showed you guys on the upload last night, they're gonna go on to something like this. So this is, you use a pencil and you carve out the bricks, and so I'm still just experimenting with it. The Chesley buildings were kind of this color. I don't know if that's picking up. It's kind of a yellowish, beigeish. It's not quite right. I'm still messing around with it. But yeah, all that is foam core. The great thing about it is A, it's really cheap. B, it's super easy to work with. Now, yeah, it's tedious carving all those bricks. It's super tedious, but I was researching for a long time a lot of different methods on how to do brick building. So you have your brick sheet styrene. Something else I was really looking at, you see it in UK videos a lot, was paper buildings, which has become really popular, and it's really convincing. The only problem was, and you probably can't see it here. Oh, the door fell out. That's okay. But if you look above the door, this kind of detail here above the doors, I really wanted, especially on the factories around my area, I wanted to get that detail. And you can also carve it into the sides. You probably can't really see it on there, but you can carve it in. It's just, I think it looks really realistic, and it's really going to capture the essence of the area and the buildings. Now, one problem I found with this is HO scale. I really can't see this being feasible in N scale. To me, it's already too big. It's already too big for HO scale. Like, those bricks are definitely larger than an HO scale brick. So it works, but it is a downfall of it. O scale, it'd be amazing. Now, Wilmer and I were talking about, I shouldn't be saying this, but amongst us right now, we have an expert foam carver. And his name is Wilmer from Indian Head Valley Railroad. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. He's probably mad at me for telling you guys this, but he showed me a picture that he did. Holy, oh my goodness, it's absolutely incredible. So I hope he does some videos on it. He blew it out of the water. I'm really telling you, I couldn't believe what he did. So anyways, yes, we're saying no. So okay, we'll let him take off from there. But I'm telling you guys, you got to see what he's done. Very similar. I think he used solid foam. I'm not sure. So yeah, as it's catching on. I learned this from those gamer guys, watching their channels, like that, what's his name? Oh shoot, I can't remember. APS, Affordable Painting Services or Solutions, whatever it's called. I've watched him before. He's done stuff like this, making like little things for the wargaming stuff. And then somebody else that does this a lot is Marklin of Sweden. He coats everything with plaster. Myself, I didn't do that. So yeah, I'm still learning with it, still experimenting, but what I'm finding is when I used to do brick, and most people would paint the brick and then wash in the mortar and wipe it off. I found that method doesn't work for this. What I'm most likely going to do, and it seems to be working, is I wash on the mortar color first and then dry brush the brick colors after. And then if you want, you can kind of go in and do some odd brick details in different brick colors. Sparky said on there for stone, absolutely Sparky. And that's why I'm going with this, because in Owen, especially in Owen Sound, I'm doing a lot of the downtown right on 10th Street. You know where 10th Street is. There's an old stone building right by the bridge. And the bridge has, it had stone railings, like stone abutments to hold the railings with lampposts on them, and then a stone building in behind. And it's the only way I could really capture that. Like, I could go and get the sheets, but you can't get those details. Like, I wanted to get, like I said, the details on the arches and everything. Model Railers in here, nice. Good to see ya. Yeah, thank you, Ray. Luke's APS, that's what it is. I've watched him. I used to watch Luke way before he got big. And going back to how I kind of got into YouTube, I used to just look for ideas and stuff. And I watched a lot of those gamer guys. They've got some really cool ideas. And I think they borrow ideas from us and we borrow ideas from them. I think it's pretty neat. Spark, that's funny you know that building. I'm pretty sure it was. I don't know how you would know that. So Sparky's talking about a building. The only way I know that, Sparky, is because I have some old books with some really old signs on, and you can see it on there. It says flower. That's pretty crazy that you knew that. That's awesome. You're pretty wise. I'm impressed. Hey James, yeah, so 3D printing, that's the only other way I could see that you could do it, to get the corners and everything and to get around the windows. But I don't want to invest in a 3D printing. And like I said, we always talk about hobbies within the hobbies. I just don't have time to learn how to do that. Nathan's really good at that. Nathan Delay. Dwayne saying Sparky's old. I knew where you grew up, Sparky, but that wasn't a flour. I mean, for years, we're talking, I don't even know when it was a flour mill. It would have been years and probably before the 50s, from what I've seen. You're 3D printing now, James? That's pretty cool. It really looks interesting. I'd like to get into it for some of the detail parts and stuff, but I don't know. I've just been getting away with carving stuff and I don't know, buying stuff. Sparky was there when the mill was built. Oh man, you guys are mean to poor Sparky. That's funny. Let's just switch up the screen a bit. I'm gonna change this music too, because I know it gets annoying for some of you guys. That's so anyways, yeah, it's a really cool method. I really like it. So I'm still learning. But when you see it next, I don't have a weathered car up here. Well, I've got this weathered caboose I showed you guys before. Just when you see it next to it really looks pretty awesome. I think it's gonna really, there was a word I thought of for a railroad, and I'm trying to think. It was like this, it's when you see a railroad, it's really well done. It's not quite prototypical, but it has like a life force to it. It's hard to explain. I'm hoping that I can achieve some of that with this. When you look at some of those great railroads, they just seem to, you can almost like, reminds you of Gotham City or something, right? You can almost feel the energy coming off of it. I'm hoping that this will kind of bring some of that together. Model rail, no, they're foam buildings. So what it is, the best foam I found, it's from a dollar store right around the corner from me. I just went in there and saw it because I have bought some from Michael's and stuff, but I find that cheap stuff from the dollar store is the best because the paper rips off really easy. So that you're not gonna be able to see it, but on this one, one side, the paper will come off easy. One side, it doesn't come off very easy. But on this one here, the paper came off super easy, and it was easy. And I've been using a pencil to carve it, and my suggestion is a really, really sharp pencil. So have a pencil sharpener there, and that carves it the best. I tried a needle just to try to get those mortar lines a little thinner, but it seemed to tear the foam a bit. I'm really liking the pencil. Thanks, John. John 26 saying it's very convincing. I think it will be. And see, if you had this right next to an HO scale brick building, you might have some issues. So for some of you guys that want to try it, it might be good for background buildings. That's what I originally had the idea for, because the RCA plant in Owen Sound, it's really a background building. It's only about an inch thick. So I thought it would work. But now that I'm going to do all of them in it, it's not going to matter, I don't think. Like, maybe in some close-up photography, but I'm not really a photographer anyway, so I don't really care about that. I think the overall impression is going to work out. And if anybody that just came in, I'm just talking about the scale of the bricks. The scale of bricks are a little bit big. It's the only downfall. That's HO scale. It would be hard to get smaller than that. So N scale, it would get a little difficult. Southern saying backside of a number 11 X-Acto blade. Yeah, that would work. That would work good, James. The only hard part too, though, especially when you think about a scale of N scale, when you get into the height. So the tough part is not really making the horizontal lines. the tough part is doing the vertical lines. So I know some people take a little paintbrush and make a little tool to push it in. I might try that. There's different ways to do it. Some people make a little brick, a little rectangle out of an old paintbrush, and they just go along and push them in. There's different ways to do it. If you go look it up on YouTube, and you'll see it's a really cool cool way to scratch build. And I haven't seen it much in HO, and I haven't seen it much in North America, it seems like. So we'll see how it works out. But like I said on the upload last night, I've got the windows in from TC Train Group, and they match pretty close. All the factories pretty well have the same windows. They'll have the same windows. It's a curved top window, and Tishi had one that matched pretty close. So I went and bought a whole bunch of them. I think I got 36 of them just to get me started. At least I can start carving them, because it takes forever. As Wilmer will tell you, it takes a long time to carve those little bricks and all those little details. It's a lot of work, but really well worth it, I think. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the nice song from the other part. James! Sorry, I should call you Jim. I didn't even see you on here. I wanted to mention you earlier. Jim Tedesco, I love your channel, first of all. Thanks for reaching out to me, second of all. And I'm glad you're doing better. I heard that you had some heart issues, so it was good to see you. I can't remember if I commented on your video or not, but I did watch it, and I was really happy to see that you're doing well. I think I commented, I can't remember. But anyways, have a good night, Jim. Thanks for tuning in. It really means a lot that you came on over. So, my friends, so I knew that show was a little bit shorter tonight, so I brought up a little other show and tell, something that I've been working on, just because I've been finally doing some model railroading. I gotta comment on there, guys. Have you guys noticed that? Like, sometimes I find this YouTube thing takes up a lot of time. I enjoy it, and I like making the videos, and but I've been getting a lot done. I've actually been doing some model railroading. I've become a YouTuber and got away from model railroading. So I've just been watching. These are some old Athearn blue boxes that I had. I was out west. I used to be a project manager, and I was working out in Calgary, and I was in a hobby shop there, and I got these for $5. Undecorated boxcars. I have 4 of them. So I love blue box Athearns. Throw them together. I can put these together in about 5 minutes, if that. So I've got 4 of these ready to go, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to prime them, and then I've got decals from a company called Black Cat Publishing. So these ones are all going to have the green maple leaf scheme, if you're familiar with that. It's like I said, I need a lot of Canadian National 40-foot boxcars. That's why I bought that 3 set that I showed you guys on that upload. It's all for grain, because that grain elevator is going to eat up a lot of boxcars. So it's good. I have a lot of other roads and stuff for boxcars, but I need a lot of Canadian Nationals to justify having also a few at freight sheds and stuff, but then have a lot of them at the grain elevators in Owen Sound. So Wilmer said, it looks good when you finish doing the brick. Takes forever to make the brick, but worth it for the results. I totally agree, Wilmer. And I made the mistake, Wilmer, of the first one I tried, and that's why I'm just doing these samples. I was stupid and knew better, but did it anyways, and tried just doing a light coat of spray paint. Not a good idea. Don't do it. Don't even try it. I don't care even if it says it's acrylic spray paint. I wouldn't even try it. It's way too much work to have it. It didn't hurt it too bad, but it kind of ruined it. Roy's saying, for sure, Benny, YouTube takes a lot of time. It really does. And don't get me wrong, guys. I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. This is a lot of fun. But it being off, I think it was good. I needed that, and I'm glad I'm back. I feel strong again. I'm feeling good again, and I'm getting some model railroading done, and that's what I love doing. We're model railroaders, right? That's what we do. So it's been good. It's been good. So another project I'm working on is that fuel dealership that you guys saw. I rusted up that. I sprayed it with like a kind of like an aluminum stainless steel color, and then I went with the rust. I think I overdid it a little bit. And the thing that I'm not too happy about is now that I'm going to take that building away, that other building, I wanted to do that one less just to give a little bit of contrast. But now that I'm taking it away, I think what I'll do, I'll just leave the tanks a little less weathered, so it's just not quite overdone. But I think for what the style I'm going for, it should look pretty good. So Dave with the Crooked River says, I agree, Dwayne. I'm just looking for what Dwayne said. Something about Great Northern I'm seeing from Dwayne, but I don't know. And Roy's in here. It's good to see you, Roy. Model Railer. I'm just scrolling up here. I smell a how-to video from you. We'll see. I might. Hey, there's Tony. Hey, Tony. Haven't talked to you in a long time either. I haven't talked to anybody in a long time, so it's good to be back. That's Wilmer and I were talking a bit about that. The how-to videos, and well, everybody knows. Like, look at Ron Piskel. Like those, Ron's doing some amazing stuff. But what's even more amazing is that he makes those videos, and they're really well edited. It'd be a lot of work doing that modeling, and then editing it and putting it all together on top of that. Roy Smith's here, and you, Container Man. Redbird, hello Redbirdie. I'm just going through your guys' comments. Nancy's still on here, nice. So, yeah, guys, I guess that worked out pretty good. A little show and tell, a little bit of the show. So yeah, so basically, with Chesley, I've already been operating it, and this is something that a lot of people say. If you get into operations, it can be addictive. So the good thing with me, I love doing scenery. So I'm going to continue with the scenery. I kind of go in, what would you call it? Just like in an order. So it's like, you know, track, wire it, solder it, paint the track, ballast, and then keep going with the bench work. So right now, it's nice because Chesley's running. The only thing is I've been too busy playing around with it instead of doing the Helix. But it's working really cool. And it is neat. So Sparky made a comment earlier, and I got way off track, but he made a comment about it be neat running on a prototypical railroad based, and it really is, Sparky. I've never done it before. So, like, you know, like the Scarborough Model Railroaders, it was prototypical looking, but it wasn't really based on the real thing. This is actually based on a blueprint. So the cool thing about it is doing things with the switching. So you come in, you don't want to go on the main, you don't want to go on the other track because it feeds the freight track, and if there's cars there, you don't want to be there, but you want to keep the main clear for passenger trains coming through. So there's really only one spot to go to drop your train, and then you look in old photographs and you can see it being done. And that's a really cool part that I didn't expect to happen, that I didn't really know about. And I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing pictures, and there's little captions in Ian Wilson's book that says, the way freight's taking the siding for 174 to come through type thing. And that's exactly how it's going to work. And it's just the way it is, the way it works. Another one I realized too was in On Sound, where would you put the cabooses? Canadians apparently say vans. I've never heard a real railroader say the word van. They call a caboose a van. Anyways, where would they put them? And there's only one spot that I could see along the harbor where it would really make sense. And sure enough, I found a photo. It was a photo of a boat, but in the background you can see the Canadian National Freight Shed, and then you see a long line of the cabooses. Are you supposed to say caboose? To me that sounds weird, but people say caboose, and I've said that as a joke, but I don't know. Cabooses, caboose. Maybe I'll stick with vans to make it easier. Sparky's saying he's going to do the CASO line from New York City to Chicago through Ontario. What is the CASO, Sparky? And Sparky's English term, brake wagons. Is that what they say? That's pretty cool. It was actually neat too when I had my niece and nephew down. Oh, Canada Southern, nice! There was a guy in Scarborough Model Railroaders that loved Canada Southern. Sweet. That's wicked. Anyways, he's from Owen Sound. He's never seen a train, right? Because they're all gone there. He's a little kid. And so I got him operating with me. So I gave him the tablet, and I was the conductor. And I would just tell him, okay, come in. And he did a fantastic job. And it's a really good way to get kids into it. He loved it. And the funny thing was, Sparky, I went off on this tangent because you're talking about the English term for vans. He was asking about the engine because we were using that SW1200 RS, that switcher. So he's asked what kind of engine is it? So I'm explaining to him it's a switcher, and normally what we're doing here we call it switching, but in the UK they call it shunting, and they call the switchers shunters. So it was kind of cool. I've never got to do that before. Millie's interested in it, but not really. Whereas Keegan, my nephew, he's a little older, and he seemed more interested and was asking the right questions. So it was really cool getting to experience that. Chasco! Good to see you, Chasco. So anyways, guys, like I was saying earlier too, I got to catch up on Sparky's videos from the UK. I've been more watching the stuff on Facebook, and I've just seen tidbits here and there, so I gotta catch up on that. Recommend you guys do that too because it looks pretty cool. Randy is saying good night. You're building a Murphy bed, Randy? That's awesome. And Randy, I'm so glad you got to be on here live. It's been not very often you're on here live. You're normally working, so it's good that you got to be on here. Roy says, studying the history, geography, and economy of the region, operations of trains running through it makes prototype modeling tons of fun. It really does. And to be 100% honest, Roy, I don't know how I got into it. I'm one of those, 100% honest, I was one of those people years ago. I'm never doing that. That's ridiculous. I'm just, but it just kind of came with the territory, I guess. A big part of it was that book. Buying that book and seeing my hometown, seeing the boat in the background that my grandfather worked on, really got the bug going. So yeah, everybody's saying goodnight. I think I'm going to say goodnight as well. We're right at 7:59 on my end. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Like I said, it's great to be back. Look for that upload on Saturday. I'm going to show you guys. To me, right now as it is, the train room, like the lounge area is cooler than the layout. The lounge area is looking pretty awesome. I got the home theater done. Sparky, the beer fridge is plugged in. There's beer in it, not blue, but we can get blue in it. It's just plugged in with extension cord because I don't have the receptacle hooked up yet. But it's ready to go. It's coming along, guys. It's been really good. So look for that. It's looking pretty cool. We will see you guys later. Stay creative, my friends. Happy model railroading, and take care. Bye-bye.